Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCEU Daily. Don't forget, you can tag me over on Twitter at Movies TV Mad and you can make topic suggestions, article suggestions for me to read out, any video suggestions that you want me to do about the entertainment industry. I'm here for it, and I should also give you a shout out. So welcome to Thursday's mammoth episode of the DCEU Daily. Yes, Wonder Woman 84 will be released in theatres all over the world where possible on December the 25th and also at the same time on HBO Max in the US. In countries where HBO Max is not available, Wonder Woman 84 will be released slightly earlier, December the 16th. This is unprecedented. This will be the new normal. This changes everything. Now, there's a lot of people talking about this. There's a lot of different opinions. Some people say they should have waited. Some people say they've just burned $1 billion of box office. And I will be responding to all of this. But this is a mammoth decision by Warner Media and Jason Kilar. I will read out what he's had to say about it as well. Listen, I absolutely agree with this decision. This film should have been released in June, if I remember rightly, of 2019. And then because of Walter Hamada and Jim Lee's multiverse strategy, they had to go back and do some more things. I have seen this movie, as you well know. I'm so excited that very soon, on Christmas Day, let me tell you now, on Christmas Day, I won't be just stuffing my face with turkey. I will do a special video where I will actually do a review of the movie, a spoiler review, and we'll really go into tuck into it and analyse this film. Very, very excited. So it's a mammoth decision. It's the right decision, and this changes Hollywood forever. But not just that, because at the end of the day, right, Warner Brothers, this is the second time where they've sacrificed the big buck to support movie theatres all over the world. They did it with Tenet, and they made a loss on that film just to support movie theatres, and they're doing it again. Now, my advice to all of you, DC fans and Wonder Woman fans and movie fans all over the world, support this movie. Put on your masks, social distance, sit in the movie theatre, do what you have to do, but support this movie. Then go home if you're in America and binge it on HBO Max. They are not doing a Mulan. They're not doing a Disney Plus. All you have to do is subscribe to this wonderful streaming service and watch this film as many times. And I think it's going to be available on HBO Max for about a month. So stream the fucking hell out of it. Anyway, The Hollywood Reporter have done an article and we're going to read it. Wonder Woman 1984 heading to HBO Max theatres December the 25th. This is by Pamela McClintock. The superhero sequel reunites director Patty Jenkins with star Gal Gadot and is a follow-up to the 2017 blockbuster that earned $828.1 million at the worldwide box office. With a second wave of COVID-19 impacting many parts of the globe, Wonder Woman 1984 is changing course yet again. The tentpole is all but giving up on a traditional theatrical release and will instead bow in whatever cinemas remain open on December the 25th, as well as stream on HBO Max in the US for 1 month, beginning on Christmas Day. In international markets where HBO Max is not available, the film starts rolling out on December the 16th, as I've already told you. Now, there are rumours by certain people I've spoken about that we may be able to rent the movie for, 20 or 30 euros or sterling or whatever for a pay-per-view renting event. I will keep you apprised of the situation. I would love that to be possible because I would love to see it again. I'm not sure if I can watch it here in theatres in Cyprus. We shall see. At some point, you have to choose to share any love and joy you have to give over everything else. Director Patty Jenkins said in a statement on Wednesday, "We love our movie as we love our fans, so we truly hope that our film brings a little bit of joy and reprieve to all of you this holiday season." I think she said more than that, and I will try and find her full statement as well as Gal Gadot's as well. Jenkins urged audiences to watch the $200 million tentpole in theatres where it was safe to do so, and on HBO Max, where it is not. In a note echoing Jenkins star Gal Gadot added, "It wasn't an easy decision and we never thought we'd have to hold on to the release for such a long time, but COVID rocked all of our worlds." Growing the number of HBO Max customers is a huge import to Time Warner. Right, I don't know why they're calling them Time Warner. It's Warner Media now. God dear, you call yourselves journalists. Even if it means giving up on potential box office tickets that Wonder Woman 1984 would have earned, had it been pushed to sometime in 2021. The hope is that a high-profile Christmas Day title, such as the superhero sequel, will lure new subscribers to HBO Max. It's pricing than most other streamers at $15.99 a month. I tell you what, the mainstream media really don't like Warner, do they? And they really don't like HBO Max. They really are trying to put this kind of a negative spin on the streaming service, but that's their problem. They're not running things anymore. Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar seemed to be laying out expectations in a blog post Wednesday in which he noted that roughly 4 million people watched the first Wonder Woman in the US on opening day in 2017. Is it possible for that to happen again this Christmas with Wonder Woman 1984 between theatres and HBO Max? Kilar asked. We are so excited to find out, doing everything in our power to provide the power of choice to fans. Keeping some semblance of a theatrical release on Christmas Day also provides comfort for cinemas who are open at that time, whether domestically or internationally. Many hundreds of theatres across the US and Europe are reclosing amid a surge in COVID-19 cases. At the same time, the China and Japan box office have rebounded in a major way. Yeah, they're doing really, really well. They don't seem to have a second surge or anything, so they're doing really well out there. In normal times, theatre chains would never carry a major studio tentpole that was debuting simultaneously at home. But in this case, all bets are off. Cinema owners have plenty of goodwill toward Warner Brothers after the studio stuck to a late summer release date for Christopher Nolan's tentpole, Tenet, despite the challenges facing the box office amid the novel coronavirus pandemic. Movie fans across the United States, Europe, and the Middle East will be excited to learn the release of Wonder Woman 1984 this holiday season is right around the corner, and that AMC will show this eagerly awaited movie on our big screens all across our global network, said Adam Aaron, CEO and president of AMC Entertainment, of showing the movie in the venues nearly, or what was that, 100,000 theatres? No, sorry, is that 1,000 theatres in the US and abroad? I'm not sure what that says. For many months, AMC has been in active and deep dialogue with Warner Brothers to figure out how best this cinematic blockbuster could be seen at AMC theatres in these unprecedented times, given that atypical circumstances call for atypical economic relationships between studios and theatres and atypical windows and releasing strategies. AMC is fully on board for Warner Brothers' announcement today. Wonder Woman 1984 reunites director Patty Jenkins with star Gadot, and is a follow-up to the 2017 blockbuster that earned we've done this. The sequel has seen its theatrical release date delayed several times because of the pandemic. Originally, it was supposed to open in June. Most recently, the plan was for a full-blown global theatrical rollout on December the 25th. As we navigate these unprecedented times, we've had to be initiative in keeping our businesses moving forward while counting to super serve our fans, said Ann Sarnoff, CEO of Warner Media, Studios and Networks Group. This is an amazing film that really comes to life on the big screen, and working with our partners in the exhibition community, we will provide that option to consumers in the US, where theatres are open. We realise that a lot of consumers can't go back to the movies due to the pandemic, so we also want to give them the option to see Wonder Woman 1984 via our HBO Max platform, added Warner Brothers Pictures chairman Toby Emmerich. We appreciate how patient audiences have been, and given the great anticipation around Wonder Woman 84, we are grateful to be able to make this terrifically entertaining movie widely available in these challenging times. Below is Kilar's full memo to staff. Right, this is the one I promised I was going to read to you. Today we announced that Wonder Woman 84, the eagerly anticipated tentpole film by Patty Jenkins, with Gal Gadot and Chris Pine reprising their roles as Diana Prince and Steve Trevor, is going to be released in theatres on December the 25th. in the United States. We will also be making this remarkable movie available on HBO Max at no extra cost, the same day that Wonder Woman 1984 premieres in theatres for the first month of the film's release. For a movie of this scale, this is unprecedented given that we wanted to share some context. There are many things that factor into a decision like this. The pandemic, our belief in the theatrical experience, and to that end, the importance of exhibitors, our mission to be strong and supportive partners to Patty Gale, producer Chuck Rovner, and the entire Wonder Woman 1984 team. And finally, the fans, which is where important decisions like this should always start and should always end. We are, of course, in an extraordinary moment. This entails a patchwork of regulations, geographic considerations, and most importantly, fan preferences. With that in mind, we see an opportunity to something firmly focused on the fans. Give them the power to choose between going to their local cinema or opening on HBO Max. Superfans will likely choose both. Yeah, that's clever of you to say that, Jason. If I was in America, I would choose both. This incredible movie will be available both ways in the US on the exact same day. If you are fortunate to live in a place where theatres are open, we believe we are offering a great option given the cinema-safe protocols our partners have put in place. With this, exhibitors are offering a movie-going experience with social distancing, masks, cleaning and ventilation protocols. On the other hand, if you and your family prefer to stay in and make your own popcorn this holiday, we want to share the experience of Wonder Woman 1984 with you the exact same day on HBO Max. It's your decision to make. We are committed to the theatrical experience, and we believe giving exhibitors a movie of this nature is important right now. We believe in theatres because hundreds of millions of fans around the world value going to the movies, and for as long as fans seek out the theatrical experience, we will be there to serve them with great movies in partnership with exhibitors. Collectively, the fans get to decide these things, as they should. Right. Interesting. We will support the theatrical experience as long as fans want to go there. That is a very, very weaponized statement, isn't it? In other words, we're probably going to continue releasing films in theatres simultaneously on HBO Max at the same time. And once you stop going to theatres, you'll be watching everything at home. I think that's what it basically means, right? Getting back to Wonder Woman 84, we believe this decision will bring several benefits. The first and most important benefit is to the fans in the form of unprecedented choice from day one. The second benefit is to the exhibitors, providing an eagerly anticipated movie at a much needed time while they take precautions in their operations. Finally, we believe that our creative partners and ourselves will benefit from this decision in the form of fan response, both theatrically and via HBO Max in the US. I find it fascinating that we will be measuring the performance of this movie in an entirely new way. Yeah, this is true. To use a line from The Wizard of Oz, we're not in Kansas anymore. While we pay attention to theatrical revenues, our expectations are clearly adjusted due to COVID-19. In parallel, we will be paying close attention to the numbers of families and fans diving into HBO Max, as we certainly anticipate that a portion of fans will choose to enjoy Wonder Woman 1984 that way on opening day and beyond. To provide a comparable, and a little over 4 million fans in the US enjoyed the first Wonder Woman movie on its opening day in 2017. Is it possible for that to happen again this Christmas with Wonder Woman 1984 between theatres and HBO Max? We are so excited to find out, doing everything in our power to provide the power of choice to fans. Many of us could use an uplifting story this holiday season. We think we have that and more in Wonder Woman 84. We believe audiences are going to love every minute of this great movie this holiday season, and we are looking forward to sharing it in this unprecedented way. Jason Kilar, Warner Media CEO. I've got a lot of time for Jason Kilar. He really talks so well. He's got such a presence on Twitter as well. I've spoken to him a couple of times on there. Really, really nice guy. And I really like that statement. Warner Media are not holding back on this. They are saying, listen, if you give us love on HBO Max, then this will be the future. And if you give us love in theatres, again, this will be the future. We can do both. We can serve people on release day on HBO Max and in theatres at the same time. The decision is yours. And actually, you're probably going to go and watch both. So it's a double revenue for us. Could it be that ultimately the way this is happening, that Warner Media could make well over $1 billion on this movie with what they're doing. I believe this is true. To again repeat a quote I use all the time from Field of Dreams, people will come. People will come. People are desperate to see this movie. People have been desperate to see this movie since the first movie ended in 2017. People have been desperate to see this movie since it was delayed in 2019. So many people are asking me, please tell me more about Wonder Woman 84, Mick. And I won't do that. I won't spoil this experience for you. It's a very rewarding film that sets the DCEU on a new course. It's very, very important that you go and see this, that you support this. Whatever side of the DC fandom you're on, or if you're just a mainstream movie fan, go see it. If you're in America, watch it on HBO Max and in theatres. This is absolutely the right decision, and I put all my backing behind it because it's finally the right thing to do, and I'm so excited and happy for everyone to see this movie. This is what Jason Kilar had to say about Wonder Woman 84 being released on December the 25th in theatres and on HBO Max in the US on Twitter. Some big news for all the Wonder Woman fans out there. I too am a proud and loyal soldier in that awesome army. In addition to the news, we wanted to share some context to this very big decision. Now I know that only love can truly save the world. Diana. Brilliant, Jason. Brilliant. And we got Gal Gadot's full statement as promised. It's time. We all waited a long time for this one to come. I can't tell you how excited I am for all you to see this movie. It wasn't an easy decision, and we never thought we'd have to hold on to the release for such a long time. But COVID rocked all of our worlds. We feel the movie has never been so relevant, and we hope that it will bring some joy, hope and love to your heart. Wonder Woman 1984 is a special one for me, and I can only hope it will be as special to you too. We put our hearts and souls into it, so you can watch it in theatres. They're doing an amazing job keeping it safe, and you can watch it on HBO Max from your homes. Sending you my love. Please keep safe and wear a mask. Happy holidays to all of us. Let the light shine in. I love you, Gal. I really do. You're such a lovely woman. And if more women in your industry were such full of confidence and brightness and positivity, your industry would be a better place. And this is what Patty Jenkins finally had to say about the release of Wonder Woman 84 in theatres and on HBO Max in the US. I can't wait for the world to see this amazing woman on screen. She'll blow your mind and warm your heart. Wow. Gal Gadot killed it in this film, and she does all the great and hard work for only the most honourable reasons. She's a true Wonder Woman. So I hope you enjoy #WW84 again. Another wonderful woman. I have been very severe at times with the holdback of this film towards Patty and maybe even Gal in the studio, but that's because I'm a passionate DC and a movie fan, and I want everyone to see this movie just like I have. And I'm going to be watching it and again and again. And just a little side note about all of this, with Wonder Woman 84 actually being released on December the 25th, basically DC have released both the movies they said they would this year. This is despite a pandemic, one of the worst pandemics in the history of humanity. Birds of Prey in February, was it? January, February time, whenever it was. And now Wonder Woman 84. Isn't that wonderful? That's an achievement in itself, because this year is the first year that you are getting no MCU content. Actually, that's quite wonderful as well, if you're a diehard DC fan. But these movie pundits can't help themselves. They're so bitter and twisted now because they have no power. The pandemic has taken it all away from them. This is Matthew Belloni, formerly from The Hollywood Reporter. This is where we are. Warner Media's just lit $1 billion plus in box office on fire to try and boost its struggling streaming service, and Wall Street will cheer. Well, bitter and twisted. First of all, HBO Max isn't struggling. HBO Max isn't setting the records alight. But this was always the case because they released a year too soon as far as I'm concerned. But with the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League, they've done really well with subscribers. In fact, the studio and company are very happy with what HBO Max is doing. And let's be absolutely clear here. In fact, I quote tweeted this guy. So let me go back and say what I said. Right. I did 2 quote tweets, and this is how I responded to Matthew Baloney. This is a piece of pure delusional fiction. Of course it's certainly not struggling. It's not breaking any records. This is not the reason this is being done, and he knows it. And who's more desperate? Disney Plus, who charge for Mulan, or HBO, who are not charging subscribers extra? Laughing emoji. But I go on. Where am I? Here we go. And I respond to Matthew again. I'd go further to that. In fact, there is no evidence that these tentpoles will be able to maximize $1 billion for a couple of years, if ever. But if he's correct, it shows that Warner Media have actually put movie theatres before the almighty buck. And yes, I stand by my statement and what I said to Matthew. You know, he's come out angrily because some people can never accept change. This is the big change. This is the new normal. I hate that phrase and term, but this is the way we are. This is the way movies will be released now. There is no guarantee it will ever go back to the way it was. We have streaming services. Let's use them. And as everyone's been saying, let's give the fans, let's give the consumer the choice. That's the way it should be. This is a bit of a light-hearted one for you because Jason, what's his name? Jason Hartley, who played Oliver Queen in Smallville, before he landed that role, he actually played Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, in an Aquaman TV pilot. Now, we all know another actor played Arthur Curry in the actual Smallville series, and I forgot his name, but he's also in Titans now, isn't he? Now, they didn't obviously rate that actor very well, so Alan Miles, who were the creators of Smallville, created this spin-off, Aquaman. So, on this official DC article, written by Mandy Curtis, she compares what's the better version, the Justin Hartley version or the Momoa version. I think we all know who's going to win, but let's read through this. So, ready or trident, Mandy Curtis compares 2 very different takes on Aquaman in this head-to-head matchup to determine the true king of the 7 seas. It's likely that you're familiar with Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, as the character's been a pop culture icon since his first appearance in More Fun Comics, #73, in 1941. Recently, Jason Momoa stepped into the gold and green armour in 2018's Aquaman. However, he wasn't the first actor to do it. Although Momoa's Aquaman is the first live-action version to gain real traction, Arthur did try and make waves on the small screen in 2006 pilot for the WB television network, developed by the creators of Smallville. Both versions have more than a few redeeming qualities, but let's take a look at who comes out on top in the Ring of Fire challenge between Aquaman 2006 and Aquaman 2018. Voiceover. Beginning at the beginning, both the TV pilot and the movie start out with voiceovers which talk about the world and Arthur's place in it. No offence to Daniela Ducia and Nee Walters, who plays Atlanta in the TV pilot, but I'd rather listen to Momoa warn me of danger to come. I'd rather listen to him read the phone book, to be honest, but that's not part of this battle. Family and life and early years. In the pilot, Arthur A.C. Curry, played by Justin Hartley, is the spoiler alert actual full-blooded prince of Atlantis, and his human father is actually his adopted father. His real name is Orin, and he and his mother were secreted away from Atlantis by an advisor named McCaffrey to keep them from getting killed. AC grew up not knowing anything about his past or where he came from, but he was aware of his skills in the water and strange empathy towards sea life. In the movie, Arthur's half human, half Atlantean, which causes him a whole lot of issues when he first tries to wrestle the crown from his half-brother and full-blooded Atlantean King Orm. Unlike AC, this Arthur knew the truth about his mother and was trained from a young age by a royal advisor, Volko. Victor, Aquaman 2006. There's nothing wrong with either of their upbringings, but being the full-blooded prince might have made things easier for AC in the long run. The half-breed moniker really set Arthur back. And come on, Atlanteans, don't be so prejudiced. But I do like what the movie did there. I think that really did work, by the way. And I actually really related to that. Being someone who's born in one country, but his parents and his blood are from another culture. Mother's disappearance. In both the pilot and the movie, Arthur's mother has to leave him when he's quite young. In the TV show, the plane Atlanta's piloting goes down in a freak storm over the Bermuda Triangle, and a creature drags her down into the depths of the ocean. After she entreats AC to get to the surface, in the movie, Atlanta is forced to return home for the safety of her son and Tom Curran, but not before she completely wrecks house, both figuratively and literally, with a contingent of Atlantean soldiers come looking for her. Victor, Aquaman 2018, watching Nicole Kidman absolutely slay those soldiers was such a fist-pumping moment. Looks, oh dear. You'll have to excuse me for getting superficial here for a moment, but Aquaman is a property that often features fit dudes going around shirtless or wearing suits of armour. That leave little to the imagination. Muscle-wise, neither the pilot nor the movie were exceptions to that rule. Hartley obviously did a lot of training to get into shape for the role of AC, and with his blonde hair and lithe physique, his AC definitely wins in the who looks more like the comic book character contest. And if you asked me in 2006 whose looks I preferred, I probably would have named Hartley. What can I say? I grew up on the WB shows. And again, excuse the superficiality, Momoa is well Momoa. Those tattoos, those sun in highlighted locks, those biceps, that gravelly voice, that can be both scary and sensuous. Momoa looks the part of a superhero and carries himself like one too. Victor, Aquaman 2018. She's literally given everything to 2018 thus far. Victor Aquaman 2018. I don't really have to explain this one, do I? Teacher. In the movie, Arthur grew up training under the tutelage of Voko, who was a vizier in the Atlantean royal court and an extremely skilled fighter. His training allows Arthur to be able to hold his own against Orm and eventually defeat him in the pilot. AC got no training whatsoever, but the promise of training to come from another royal advisor. McCaffrey was expressly stated at the end of the episode and likely was going to be a part of the larger series. That never happened. What a shame. Victor, Aquaman 2006. I love me some William Dafoe, but Ving Rhames gave A.C. Shakespeare's Henry IV Parts 1 and 2 to read as his first task. Hit me right in my bard-loving heart. Wow, Ving Rhames was in this pilot. I didn't know that. I knew of this pilot, but I didn't know that. Love interest. We don't get to learn who the actual love interest of the TV series would have been, but there were two female characters in the pilot who had promised. AC's business partner, Eva, and Lieutenant Rachel Torres, who AC saves when her fighter jet goes down while she's patrolling over the Bermuda Triangle. Eva seems nice, and I hope she was going to be a regular in the series. She's hurt at the end of the show, and I'm guessing it could have gone either way. But I was already shipping AC and LT Torres after their flirty scene in the hospital. She also had an intriguing backstory that I would have loved to watch unfold. I'm telling you, one of those women would have been Mira. We know it, right? The movie stuck with the source material, introducing Ymira Xebla Mira into Arthur's life. She's a skilled fighter. Oh, right, hang on. Mira was another woman in this pilot as well. All right, that theory's gone then. So introducing Ymira Xebla, a.k.a. Mira, into Arthur's life. She's a skilled fighter in her own right and is the voice of reason when Arthur's unsure of what he's supposed to do. She's his equal in more ways than one and an impressive superhero in her own right. Isn't it a shame when we talk about women we have to say that they're the equal of a man in their own right? Isn't it obvious that each human being is an equal? Do we have to underlabel it? Anyway, Victor, Aquaman 2018. Mira might be betrothed to Orm, but she's got a mind and ideals all her own. Plus, her water-bending skills are savage. Listen, I just think Amber's brilliant as Mira. I don't care what you think about her personally. I think she's a great Mira. Villain. Where is Arthur battles his half-brother and Black Manta, who were out for world domination and vengeance, respectively, AC battled a vicious siren named Nadia, who was looking to drag him back to Atlantis to face execution. Victor. Ty. The movie villains had more time to be fleshed out and their motivations made a lot of sense. I do love a good Monster of the Week story, and the practical and special effects to turn Adrian Palicki into a monster were surprisingly good for the time period. I would have liked to, I've never actually seen this pilot. I should try and find a way of watching it. I may see if HBO Max may put it on. Maybe I'll request it. Weapon. Arthur starts the movie wielding his mother's weapon, a 5-pronged trident that can do some major damage, and he ends the movie battling with a 3-pronged trident forged for the greatest king Atlantis has ever seen, longer thought to be merely a myth, like his namesake Excalibur. AC stabs Nadia in the head with a vaguely trident-shaped harpoon. That's not even 3 feet long and kind of looks like a barbecue fork. Oh dear. Victor Aquaman 2018. That little harpoon fork thing AC used to kill Nadia can't hold a candle to King Atlan's trident. No. Ending song. Because it was a WB show in the early aughts, this pilot ends with an angsty Trust Company song called Downfall. The movie, on the other hand, ends with a more upbeat number by Skylar Grey called Everything I Need. Both songs do a... Fogs? I've got fogs on the mind. Touching too many fogs. Apologies. Good job of speaking to the themes of the story, which lyrics like, you can't see what I see, the other side of me, fall back on me, and I'll be the strength I need. And I'll be the strength I need. Oh, right, okay. Downfall. And born on the wrong side of the ocean, with all the tides against you, you never thought you'd be much good for anyone, but that's so far from the truth. Everything I need. Victor Aquaman 2006. Ooh, although Downfall is a very stereotypically 2006, it seems to be more about AC finding the strength he needs inside himself, while Everything I Need is about someone, Mira finding what she needs in Arthur. The former feels more applicable to the plot and who Aquaman is. Winner, Aquaman 2018. Although the winner here is the movie, it wasn't as much of a rout as Arthur and Orm's final battle, and the pilot and the movie actually have much more in common than I might have expected. In the end, and no matter who won, they're both about a man finding his place in the world and discovering that there's more to himself than he ever knew. And I'm not just talking about superpowers. Yeah, do you know what? This is a really good article. I don't know if it bored you or not, and I'm sorry if it did, but I thought I'd read this because there's a darker story I'm going to read to you. Not dark, but I'm going to really lose my shit with this article very soon. So I thought I'd lighten it up a bit. So I really want to see the pilot now. I really do. But I love Aquaman 2018. It's a great film. Zack Snyder did promise people they wouldn't be laughing at Aquaman anymore. And I don't think that they are. Over $1 billion at the box office. Momoa as great as Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman. It was a great movie. And for people like Collider who say the movie was a mess, sorry, go back to the MCU now. Your press pass, give it back. Now, yesterday I showed you that beautiful picture of Zack Snyder's design of Steppenwolf in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And here Craig Levine talks about the different design of Steppenwolf from Justice League to Zack Snyder's Justice League. Justice League, why Snyder's new Steppenwolf design looks so different. A new image from the Justice League Snyder Cut reveals a very different version of Steppenwolf. Here's why the villain's design is such a departure. Why is the Snyder Cut Steppenwolf design such a radical shift for the Justice League villain? While many were expecting Darkseid to be the Thanos of the DCEU, stop mentioning that bloody Thanos. 2017's Justice League handed that role to one of his minions, Steppenwolf, played by Ciaran Hinds. Steppenwolf invaded Earth long ago and returns in the present day to collect the mother boxes and finishes the job. Although Steppenwolf remains the lead antagonist in the Snyder Cut, he'll be representative of Darkseid, who Snyder intended to feature in Justice League's flashback history lesson and during the climax of the final battle. Oh boy, we've got something to look forward to, haven't we? The Snyder Cut restores the original plan for Steppenwolf and Darkseid, but their dynamic isn't the only alteration. Alongside a reworked black and white trailer, Snyder has shared an up-close image of his new Steppenwolf design. The change of wardrobe has proved predictably divisive online. Has it? I thought we all liked it, apart from a few idiots. Look, the Snyder fans love it. The DCEU fans love it, and people who know nothing about nothing don't like it. Inciting equal parts praise and derision, but Snyder certainly can't be accused of playing it safe. The new Steppenwolf is more rugged, angrier and uglier compared to the 2017 version, and comes with a spiky metallic armour that would make the Iron Throne blush. While Steppenwolf's makeover clearly isn't to everyone's taste, there's a reason for these dramatic changes. Even before Zack Snyder departed during the post-production process of Justice League, the director had been forced to compromise his vision for the film. Steppenwolf was once slated to make his DCEU debut in Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, setting up a formal introduction in Justice League, although the scene was ultimately cut. This early Steppenwolf was far more monstrous and elaborate in nature, with a spike-covered textured body and less human facial features, a marked departure from the humanoid villain seen in the theatrical Justice League cut. The transition from the horror-inspired scary Steppenwolf to the less visually unsettling enemy came as part of Warner Bros.' response to Batman v Superman, heavily criticised for its dark tone. The DCEU made a conscious effort to lighten up in the wake of Batman vs Superman. In addition to the PG Steppenwolf redesign, this can be seen in the hiring of Joss Whedon, the removal of the frightening parademon scenes, and the altered colour palette. The Justice League Snyder Cut is much more than a simple restoration of the director's semi-finished pre-Whedon. Notifications, go away. Semi-finished pre-Whedon footage. The 2021 edit presents an opportunity for Snyder to realise his scrapped DCEU dreams, and this is why fans are now seeing a remarkably different Steppenwolf. The new Snyder Cut image is essentially the same model used in Batman vs Superman's deleted scene, and it's fact the scene they put in the Ultimate Edition as well, isn't it? Snyder Cut Steppenwolf isn't quite an exact return to the original look. His suit of armour seems even sharper this time around, but the strong influence is plain to see, where Snyder was once deterred from using this spiky demonic Steppenwolf. The Justice League Snyder Cut can finally unleash the version audiences were always meant to get. The return of Steppenwolf's Batman v Superman design is part of a general shift back towards the darker tone Snyder wanted for the DCEU. Trailers for the 2021 HBO Max miniseries have already revealed that the darker lighting during Superman's battle against the Justice League will replace the 2017 film's strange orange dawn glow, and Clark Kent will be donning his famous post-resurrection black suit too. The addition of a more sinister-looking Steppenwolf continues that general move away from the family-friendly superhero fare of the theatrical Justice League cut, and back towards the grittier, more visceral Justice League Zack Snyder always intended. Now, this is where I am. I believe that superheroes or that DC characters should be for everyone. Adults, children, men, women. But this is why Jim Lee's and Walter Hamada's multiverse strategy is very important. So there's films for families, children, adults, people who like the scarier, darker stuff. And so I'm really excited that we're going back to the original Steppenwolf redesign. You know, you don't mess with a guy's vision. That's the way he wanted it. This is the kind of darker, this is not a Saturday afternoon Justice League cartoon. This is a Zack Snyder film. And you're either going to take it or leave it. We're now over to the Arrowverse. We will go back to the Snyderverse and the DCEU, by the way, but right now we're back to the Arrowverse. Arrowverse finally completes its DC Trinity by Thomas Bacon. Every time I hear that name, I just want to eat bacon. Right, the Arrowverse now has its own version of DC's famous Trinity, but they're very different to the comics, with Batwoman and Wonder Girl. This is interesting. The Arrowverse is finally assembling its own version of the DC's Trinity, with Tyler Hoechlin's Superman in Superman and Lois, Javicia Leslie's Ryan Wilder in Batwoman, and the imminent introduction of a Wonder Girl show. When Arrow launched in 2012, nobody could have imagined it would become the foundation for an entire multiverse of superhero TV shows. And yet the Arrowverse has become DC TV's greatest success story, with an ever-expanding slate. At first, Warner Bros. Remained focused on the DCEU, and the Arrowverse frequently had to drop plans for characters when the studio considered bringing them to the big screen. The shared universe frequently had to make do with the second-string superheroes from the comics and less well-established brands. But ironically, this proved to be something of a strength Rather than focus on DC's so-called trinity of key heroes, Batman, Superman and Wonder Woman, the Arrowverse instead developed characters like the Atom, the Martian Manhunter, the Elongated Man and Killer Frost. Still, little by little, the Arrowverse has been allowed to incorporate some of the bigger names, a sign of the franchise's increasing significance in the eyes of DC and Warner Brothers, and the multiverse strategy has also allowed this. But obviously, Mr. Bacon's kind of ulterior motives here are trying edging on another way. The recently announced Wonder Girl series now means the Arrowverse has its own version of the Trinity. The upcoming Superman and Lois series means Tyler Hoechlin's Superman is about to take centre stage as the man still deals with his life that has been drastically changed by the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Then there's a whole new Batwoman, a former drug dealer named Ryan Wilder, who has dedicated herself to cleaning up Gotham, and the Arrowverse's Trinity is rounded out by the new Wonder Girl. Yara Flor, daughter and Amazonian warrior and a Brazilian river god, Yara Flor is due to make her comic book debut in January 2021 as the future Wonder Woman. The Arrowverse Trinity highlights just how creative the Arrowverse has become. In the past, that creativity seemed to be mostly false, with Warner Bros. Fearing brands would be tarnished if characters appeared on both the big and small screens simultaneously. The studio seems to have relaxed on that point of late, as demonstrated by the fact Superman is now starring in his own series, but the Arrowverse is continuing to be just as bold. Yara Flor won't even appear in the comics until 2021, and yet Greg Berlanti and the CW has signed off her own show. Javicia Leslie is playing a whole new version of Batwoman created for the Arrowverse, and who the comics are incorporating after the fact. No doubt this approach will prove divisive among some parts of the fandom. You hope. There's always a strong push for adaptations to honour the source material as much as possible, and the Arrowverse is choosing to eschew that approach, and yet in doing so the CW is giving an opportunity for a new wave of heroes to make a mark on popular culture. The Arrowverse has become more refreshingly diverse than the comics themselves, with its trinity including a black bisexual Batwoman and a Latina superheroine. And doing so, it is becoming more than just a comic book adaptation, standing as a powerful and successful franchise in its own right. It will be fascinating to see what the future has in store for the Arrowverse and its trinity. Well, not a bad article. He was kind of going down the diverse subject. I said it the other day. When you keep on kind of tagging people in their cultures, or maybe they're in a wheelchair, are you saying to that person, your performances, your art isn't important, but who you are and the group you represent is more important? I find that staggering. I'm excited about, is it Wonder Girl? I forgot already. Is that what they call her, Wonder Girl? Having a Latino as Wonder Girl is brilliant. And this is the first time I'm hearing that this Ryan, whatever the new Batwoman's name is actually a previous drug dealer. This is going to be more interesting. I think the studio may be allowing the showrunner to have more control. So I'm very interested to see what they do with both shows. And actually, because this is more evidence that the CW and Berlanti are very not divisive or diverse with their CW Arrowverse shows, when I read in a couple of moments' time, a couple of articles' time, I will read you one accusing the CW and Berlanti of being not diverse, and this is how reading this actually, proves that this person who's claiming Arrowverse isn't diverse is an absolute idiot. But before we get to all that, you are going to watch me lose my shit. And remember the name Corey Stillman. Listen to this title and say you don't get angry. Aquaman 2 needs to be delayed, but not because of Amber Heard. Oh, God, just listen to this crap. Aquaman 2 is not the only high-profile sequel eyeing its 2022 release date. Another film may force Warner Brothers to delay the upcoming Aquaman sequel. Aquaman 2 needs to be delayed, and not because of the suggested controversies around Amber Heard's private life, but because of another huge release currently set for the same day. The DCEU sequel is currently set to release on December the 16th, 2022, assuming the various complications surrounding the Heard and her ex-husband Johnny Depp don't impact filming. But the even stronger reason for Aquaman 2's release delay is Avatar 2. First of all, you idiot, why would the film need to be delayed because of Amber's situation? Anyway, get over yourself, unless she's going to jail, which I doubt. Although 2018's Aquaman amassed over $1 billion at the box office and developed a loyal cult following of its own, the franchise has not quite established itself as a perennial success like the MCU films or even other DC properties. Have fans and critics alike lauded the first film for its commitment to spectacle. Unfortunately, director James Wan is set to return for the sequel, ensuring continued commitment to over-the-top action. Right, it made over $1 billion. People loved it. Well, apart from Collider and maybe you, mate. But there's no issue with this film, and of course it should stay on its release date. He goes on. Crucially, Wan's film may have trouble finding an audience. In December of 2022, where it currently plans to release alongside one of the most highly anticipated sequels in recent memories. James Cameron's Avatar 2, Cameron's follow-up to his 2009 epic, has been gestating for years now, and as rumours continue to surface surrounding the new film, it seems it may have a lot in common with Aquaman 2. Much has been made of the film's lengthy underwater sequence, which are genuinely filmed underwater, whereas Aquaman relied on complex CGI and rig technology. Avatar 2 required its actors to perform motion capture at surprising and underwater depths. Kate Winslet, who plays a new character in the sequel, even broke Tom Cruise's record for an underwater scene. I don't care! Because Avatar 2 can lay claim to such a bold, ambitious approach to filmmaking, it is likely to overshadow Aquaman 2 and any other film that dares to rival it in the final quarters of 2022. And not only that, but the thematic parallels of the magic underwater kingdoms and the fish out of the water narrative focus draw Aquaman and Avatar 2 too close together. Cameron's ambition is what made the first Avatar film such a smash hit, both at the box office and during awards season, and is largely why the sequel remains so highly anticipated. Actually, unlike its predecessor. But actually, I don't think the excitement for Avatar 2 is any higher than Aquaman 2, if you ask me. I thought that, although I like Avatar and I think it's a good, solid movie, it wasn't the revolutionary, interesting film we were led to believe it's in, and I thought it was a really underwhelming film. I loved Aquaman 2, and I know I'm a biased DC fan, but I'm much more excited. Should I say that again? I'm maybe a biased DC fan, but I'm much more excited for Aquaman 2 than I am for Avatar 2. I genuinely believe the excitement isn't even there. It's going to make another $1 billion or more, whatever, right? It's going to do well. It may even do better than Aquaman. I still think Aquaman should release and not worry about it, and I think this is a ridiculous narrative that this guy is spilling. Aquaman 2 will not be able to rely on the uniqueness of its underwater setting and may therefore have to consider a later release date for its own sake. Actually, Aquaman 2, if you're listening, mate, will be set above water as much as underwater, maybe even more above the ground this time. Right. There is no doubt that Aquaman 2 will provide plenty of impressive imagery, but its computerized nature may seem glaring when compared with the authenticity of Avatar 2. No, you're talking about James Wan here. There will be no comparison. They will both look amazing. Stop trying to put things against each other, you idiot. You Disney-loving little freak. Certainly, Warner Brothers could welcome this challenge from Disney, who only recently acquired the Avatar franchise after purchasing 20th Century Fox. But seeking out another release slot into 2023 and perhaps the summer season would be a far smarter move. No! Particularly as Disney is likely to treat Avatar as its next big sci-fi franchise and invest heavily to cover the huge cost of making Cameron sequels. And that's all you've got, mate? This is your fucking article. This is your article. This is your big reason why Aquaman 2 should be delayed till 2023. You can fuck right off. That film is going nowhere. We're already getting bloody the Batman delayed to 2022. So up yours and keep that shut. Jesus Christ, these people. If you're still here, and we're looking at 49 odd minutes now, this video has really gone on, but I started so I finished. You obviously enjoy seeing my blood pressure rise to the bare maximum, right? And you're going to see it here, right? Listen to this. Just listen to this. This is just classic. Remember what I said about Arrowverse being so diverse, right? So this is an article by Rachel Labanotti. Suban and Lois ignored calls for diverse Martha and Jonathan Kent, says writer. So they wanted to race bend Martha and Jonathan Kent. No, no, no. Enough is enough. Anyway, former Superman and Lois writer Nadia Tucker, this is the woman who blocked me, by the way. I'm sure you're not surprised about that. Says the show ignored calls for more diverse casting choices, such as those for Martha and Jonathan Kent. Former Superman and Lois writer Nadia Tucker says the higher-ups on the show ignored calls for actors of colour to be cast as Martha and Jonathan Kent. Again, I'm going to say this, right? I wouldn't mind if you went for Puerto Rican actors, right, or Mexican actors, but actors of colour. Actors of colour are the most represented minority in Hollywood, and you wanted a black Jonathan and Martha Kent. Love, you are absolutely outrageous, and you deserve to be booted out with both feet. In February 2021, Superman and Lois will become the latest show to join the CW's expansive Arrowverse. The series will focus on Clark Kent, Tyler Hoechlin and Lois Lane and Elizabeth Tulloch as they settle into Smallville with their two sons, Jordan Alas and Alexander Garfield. Both Clark and Lois have had a hand in various Arrowverse crossovers, but this will be the first time they get to become the stars of their own story. Do you know what? I'm surprised she didn't want a black Superman. Yeah. Now, there is a version of Superman that is black in the comics, and that's fine. But Kal-El, Clark Kent, isn't black. Let's get that clear again. There's much anticipation surrounding Superman and Lois, but a disturbing report emerged only a few weeks into production. Tucker, who's worked on shows like Underground and Krypton, shared on social media that she had been let go from Superman and Lois after calling out sexism and racism in the writer's room. Those at the CW and on their series haven't commented on Tucker's allegations, which come amid a wave of reckoning for Hollywood and its treatment of people of colour. Hang on a minute. Hollywood's treatment of people of colour. As I say, they have been the most represented minority for over 50 years. Anyone seen In the Heat of the Night? It goes back that far. Now, I know a lot of people of colour have been cast as villains and things like that. And, you know, that's another discussion. You can't race bend everyone. But then when Asian characters or black characters are race bended into white, or they're played by white people, you scream whitewashing. You can't have it both ways. In a new interview with Janita Davis, Janita Davis, another one who's blocked me. Now, this is a woman who's got politics on her mind. Why she's talking about this writer should get into politics. Juanita Davis should get into politics and leave the entertainment industry to us who love it. These people just want to destroy the entertainment industry and focus on representation and inclusion and not entertainment. In a new interview with Janita Davis, Tucker has opened up about what happened in the Superman and Lois writers' room. When it came to the casting for the series, Tucker explained how she and others on the staff pushed for actors of colour to be cast in supporting roles beyond the villains. The best example of a missed opportunity, Tucker said, was Clark's adopted parents, Jonathan and Martha, Tucker explained. Let's listen to what she has to say there. For example, we pushed for diversity in the beginning with some of the casting of Martha and Jonathan Kent because they're Superman's adopted parents. They can be literally anything in the world. And so we got pushed back on that. They were cast with, I'm sure, with some great actors. Martha ended up having to be recast again. We pushed for diversity again. We were ignored. Stuff like that just adds up. And you see the results on the screen. Yes, Martha and Jonathan Kent are white. That's what they should be. There has to be a line drawn. And by the way, credit to Berlanti, credit to the CW, credit to Warner Media for not bending their knees to this crazy woman. And it does show on the screen. The quality will show in the screen because they understand how important Superman is. And there can be some race bending in elements to be, representational and, diverse. But you've got to draw the line somewhere, right? Tucker went on to say she and the other writers of colour brought this to the attention of the Superman and Lois showrunner, Todd Helbig, and the writers above Tucker. However, nothing appears to have come from their concerns. Superman and Lois has yet to reveal who will be playing Martha and Jonathan, but it sounds like they will not be actors of colour. Good. They shouldn't be. This year has seen shows like Riverdale vow to do better in promoting diversity, and it's disheartening to hear Superman and Lois didn't get the memo. While the series could take some steps now to apply meaningful changes, Tucker's comments from both the interview and her social media show things have not gotten off to a positive start. Had Superman and Lois bent the knee. I mean cast. Positive start. Had Superman and Lois cast actors of colour to play Clark's parents, the show could have broken new ground. No, it would have bent the knee. That's not breaking new ground. New ground is telling epic, compelling stories, not what culture is playing who. Oh, new ground within the DC world, and perhaps could have even provided a new layer to Clark's home life. Unfortunately, Superman and Lois will have to do more to create an inclusive space that Clark himself would be proud of. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Oh, dear, what a horrible, horrible article, full of agenda. And I totally say, you are talking out of your ass. We do not want people of colour to be playing Martha and Jonathan Kent, right? That's not what should happen here. As I say, you've got to draw the line somewhere. And why is it every time we talk about representation and inclusion, we're always talking about people of colour? As I say, not brown people, not Greek Cypriots like myself. It's always about people of colour. Why? Because it's always people of colour who stamp their feet the loudest. The most represented minority in Hollywood wants more and more and more. Well done, Berlanti. Well done, Warner Media, for not bending the knee. And don't you dare change your minds. So, yes, Snyder's Justice League explains how Batman can fight parademons. Zack Snyder's cut of Justice League explains how Batman is able to fight off Steppenwolf's army of parademons, as shown in the teaser trailer. By Matt Moore, Zack Snyder's Justice League will provide an explanation to how Ben Affleck's Batman is able to fight off parademons during Steppenwolf's invasion of Earth. After Snyder stepped away from the project for personal reasons, replacement director Joss Whedon removed a number of scenes from the theatrical version. Several of these scenes were featured in trailers and teasers, leaving fans disappointing and hoping for their inclusion in the Snyder Cut. Those wishes are set to come true in 2021 when Zack Snyder's version of Justice League arrives on HBO Max. A fan movement developed through social media helped convince Warner Brothers to release the cut more than 3 years after it hit theatres to poor reviews and underperforming box office numbers. A teaser released back in August indicates that Snyder's vision will finally be realised. The restoration of scene cut from the original film ensures that fans will be able to experience the film as the director intended. To mark the 3-year anniversary of Justice League theatrical release, Zack Snyder held an online event breaking down the teaser trailer for his cut of the film. Streaming on Vero, Snyder offered an explanation for several scenes featured in the teaser, including one showing Batman facing off with parademons during the tunnel fight. Snyder detailed how the Dark Knight was able to go head-to-head with the extraterrestrials and fend off blasts from their weapons. This is Zack. Alfred was able to construct for him special gauntlets. Of course, Wonder Woman, they do discuss the whole idea. This was and what was the inspiration. It's pretty obvious where that idea came from. So basically, I'm assuming Alfred is able to create this gauntlet from the same material that Diana uses on her costume. That's what I'm assuming. The theatrical cut of Justice League featured Batman fighting parademons on multiple occasions, but this particular scene did not appear in Joss Whedon's version. Batman using his gauntlets as a shield was also featured in Snyder's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, but was used to deflect bullets. The Batsuit has clearly gone through upgrades to deal with the stronger threats posed by parademons. By referencing both Alfred and Wonder Woman in his explanation, Zack Snyder helps flesh out both characters and the world he created. He provides another example of how hands-on Jeremy Irons' Alfred is in the DC Extended Universe. Fans have already seen the Butler fixing Batman's cowl and piloting the Batwing in Batman v Superman, as well as controlling the Flying Fox in Justice League. The gauntlets drawing inspiration from Wonder Woman's bracelets also shows a level of collaboration among the heroes that did not come across in the theatrical version. This is true. It isn't clear if Snyder was referencing an actual scene that was filmed for Justice League or if his explanation is something the director created in his own mind to justify Batman surviving a parademon battle. No. But with over 2 hours of new footage in the director's cut, there is a good chance a scene is included. In any case, It demonstrates Snyder's level of detail that we lost in the theatrical version of the film. With Justice League coming to HBO Max, fans will finally get to see the director's commitment pay off. Yes, absolutely. This is what I love about Zack. He wants everything to make sense. There's building blocks of everything. We see this in Man of Steel quite a lot. Everything has to make sense in the real world kind of construct. And I really like that. And I love the way he sits down and he explains to the fans just in case they don't understand. And he tries to explain as much as possible. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. So he's going to be wearing gauntlets, and this is how, when they shoot at him, he doesn't die. But Bruce Wayne has always been this intuitive, hasn't he? He's always been able to craft something to protect himself. So really, this is representing the character very accurately to the comics. Jesus Christ, we're now on 1 hour. Have I ever made a video that's been 1 hour long or over 1 hour long? I'm sorry it's gone on this long, but there's a lot to talk about today. And this is a really exciting thing for me. Justice League Snyder Cut repeats that Supergirl is... What? Justice League Snyder Cut repeats that Supergirl Easter egg. Wow, 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 wow. Zack Snyder confirms the Supergirl Easter egg previously included in Man of Steel will once again be featured in the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So what he's saying is that same Easter egg of the empty casket will be repeated again. Now, this is interesting, and I'm also quite confused why he decided not to actually put Supergirl in Justice League. But obviously he always did have plans for her. Please, HBO Max. Please, everyone, support this movie so we can get more. This is by Cooper Hood. Zack Snyder's Justice League will repeat Man of Steel's Supergirl Easter egg. Snyder is responsible for launching the DC Extended Universe in 2013 with the release of Henry Cavill's first Superman solo movie, Man of Steel, was the start of what Snyder imagined as a 5-film plan focused on the Kryptonian hero. But those plans changed and expanded as the DCEU tried to compete with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Although these plans grew beyond Snyder, he is responsible for introducing Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and The Flash. With his knack of world building and detail, Snyder is also planned to incorporate many other DC characters through his stories. The Snyder Cut of Justice League will include some new ones to prepare the world for an eventual battle with Darkseid, but Snyder also planted seeds for other heroes to emerge. One of these came in Man of Steel when Kal-El visited the Kryptonian scout ship, and fans spotted one sleeping chamber was mysteriously opened. This was meant to be a setup for Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl, but Snyder never got a chance to pay off the tease. Following the release of the updated Justice League trailer, Snyder hosted a Q&A on Vero about his version of the movie. Several topics were discussed as Snyder broke down the footage and answered fan questions. One of them asked how many Kryptonians are on Earth besides Kal-El. The question indirectly references the possibility of Supergirl being around on Earth and even being teased in Justice League. As it turns out, Snyder confirmed that Justice League will once again include the open sleeping chamber tease from Man of Steel, but that the answer to what happened is a story for another time. So definitely either in Man of Steel 2, which I believe Zack Snyder will write and direct, or a Supergirl movie, we are finally going to see Kara Zor-El, aka Supergirl. This is what Zack had to say. Well, the easy answer is only Kal-El. But there's always that kind of an open-ended. If you study Man of Steel, and even in this film, there's a reference to the open sleeping creche, which is when they walk by it on the scout ship, when they're bringing Superman's body in to bring it back to life. There's a sequence where they go kind of walking through that same hallway where Kal-El walked through when he first came into the scout ship. Then there's a moment where he kind of wipes the dust from the Kryptonian sleeping creches and sees this sort of shriveled Kryptonian inside. Now, next to that creche, there's an open creche that just looks like someone clearly got out of that. And who that is remains a mystery to this day. We'll see. So, he's not going to answer it in Justice League. Unless he's lying, we'll have to wait and see. But it's something the fans, and certainly me, and I count myself as a big fan, really want to know. We want to see Supergirl in the Snyderverse. Whether or not Supergirl is referenced in Justice League beyond that open pod, Snyder has already had the chance to explore some of Kara's story. He wrote a Man of Steel prequel comic book that explored Supergirl's origins. The story focused on Kara's days as a member of the Explorers Guild, how the scout ship crashed on Earth, and confirmed she was the lone survivor. Snyder has gone on to discuss that the open pod was set up for much more than just Supergirl, but it has yet to be revealed what that means. So when was he planning on doing this? In the Man of Steel sequel, maybe? Or in Supergirl's very own movie? He really wanted to do Supergirl. Let me rephrase that. He really wanted to develop a Supergirl character for his Snyderverse, and I hope he gets to do that, because a Kara Zor-El done by... I've got a dirty mind. A Kara Zor-El developed by Zack Snyder will be a gritty, groundbreaking, compelling version of the character. There isn't an expectation at the moment that Supergirl will appear in Justice League, or if she plays a role in any future Justice League story. Snyder already has planned. However, Snyder's already proven he's full of surprises, such as bringing back Jared Leto's Joker for a brand new scene. That might not happen with Supergirl in Justice League, since she was never cast, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing to happen with the project. Any version of Kara that is featured in Snyder's DCEU in the immediate or distant future will be quite different than the one most comic book fans are familiar with, but it would be intriguing to see how she fits into a post-Justice League storyline, especially if the nightmare future comes to fruition and Superman turns evil. Yes, wouldn't you imagine that if we're going to really get into this nightmare future in Zack Snyder's Justice League, that Supergirl would be in that future? Don't you think? Man of Steel 2 would have happened before that future, that possible future, right? So surely Kara's there. Surely Supergirl is in Zack Snyder's Justice League. He's kind of denied it in the past. I don't believe you, Zack. I think Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, is in your Justice League movie, and I suppose we will just have to wait and see to see what happens with that. Well, it's been a very, very long episode of the DCEU Daily. Too long if you ask me and my throat, but I've really enjoyed it. This channel is about giving me a voice and giving people who want to hear my voice the chance to listen to what I've got to say. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.